And part three of Secrets of the Obvious, episode 28. Final question for tonight. This person wrote me a 4-page email and gave me a whole life story and ended off with saying, Lou, I no longer feel like myself. I don't know who I am anymore. I no longer know what I want or what is good for me. Hey, no one does. I used to be so certain of who I was and what I wanted. 2 years into the study of A Course in Miracles and other non-dual teachings, I am completely lost. Please help. Beloved, welcome to the world of spirituality, where the lost are leading the blind and the blind are leading the lost. And there is nobody more lost than spiritual and religious people. The everyday person who doesn't give a damn about spirituality or religion, just goes about their business, they're not lost. It's only the spiritual and religious ones that are lost. Why? Because they're confused as to what they are and what God is and who's right and who's wrong. And there's no right and wrong, there's no good and bad. There's just pure awareness or not at all, you know. And there's nothing that's not aware, and therefore it's all just awareness, appearing as consciousness, appearing as dream state. You think you lost your way when you found the non-dual teachings. The reality is you were lost before you found the non-dual. You wouldn't have found the non-dual if you hadn't been searching for something. If everything was as perfect as you claim it was, you knew what was good for you, you knew what you wanted, you knew where you were, then you wouldn't have been searching. You wouldn't have gone and stumbled across either a religious or a spiritual path. You would have continued doing what you do. But things definitely started to fail. So I'm sure as a youngster and in your early 20s, things really worked out for you and you had an amazing legal career. You're a top-notch attorney. You've got massive firm. You've got lots of clients. You're well known in South Africa. And then the shit hit the fan. You've never really known what you are. You've never known who you are, what God is. You had no clue. You didn't give it any attention. You were fortunate enough you weren't raised in religion. You weren't raised in a religious household. But you've never really known what you were because you anchored yourself in an identity, whether it was formed in your formative years or taught to you by your parents and school teachers. You bought into an identity and you followed that identity and you became that identity. It was conditioned, it was pre-programmed, it preordained. Your destiny that you chose to come and play this out. So you came with a very specific mission. You incarnated with a very specific mission. You were going to play out this role so that you could get to this point where you ask the question, what the fuck am I? And what the fuck am I supposed to do with all of this? And what the fuck? That's it. That's where you are. You asking the right question. You've come to this realization, but you didn't become lost because you found A Course in Miracles. You're lost because you're being called to turn inwards, but you're trying to still look outwards. That's why you're lost. You're lost in translation. You're lost in the doorway to the eternal while you're desperately trying to hang on to what is not real. You're lost because you're still hanging on to concepts and ideas, and they always fail. It may have taken religion 2,000 years to fail, but it's failed. Christianity has seen its ass. It doesn't know it has yet. Islam will continue for a little longer, maybe 1,000 more years than Christianity, but eventually it'll fail too. Taoism no longer a religion, it's now just an awareness. Buddhism is failing because it's a path, but it's a religion too. All of it's going to fail, and eventually there will be no path. But each and every individual fracture of ourselves will find its own way because there's spokes in a bicycle. They all return. They went in opposite directions to each other from source, from God. And you're going to go in the exact same direction you went away. You're going to go in the exact same direction. And that's why each path is unique and individual. We're all signposts for each other, but been lost since the moment you fell asleep because it's not just you as a character, but you as the dreaming mind fell asleep. Every character subsequently that you've dreamt up is lost too, with the forgetfulness of yourself, with the indignation of forgetting. with the vengefulness in which you've made manifest an idea called the universe and sentient beings. You made it out of vengeance. But you preoccupied yourself with ambition and thoughts and ideas and careers and identities, and it fails. It's designed that way. Thy will be done. And God laughs while we make plans. While we're busy thinking we're becoming someone important. Look at me, I'm an attorney. How do you know someone's a doctor? They'll tell you. How do you know someone's an attorney? He'll bill you for it. Hey, don't diss an education. It's an accelerated way to absorb a lot of information, but then you still have to put it to practice. Nothing more dangerous than a graduate. So don't anchor your identity on the shifting sands of time. Does that sound romantic? Your identity cannot withstand the storms of suffering. God, it falls apart. And that's what's happened. One disappointment after another. You probably had a blossoming career, but no one noticed you. Thriving money, power, calm, all of that. No man would date you because they were intimidated by you. No woman wanted to be your friend because they were scared of you. And what did you desperately want? You wanted all that stuff because you thought it was going to make you feel loved. Well, it didn't. It got you to push people away, became cynical. And now you're aging, imagining, and men stop looking at you the way they used to. And now you're starting to doubt yourself. That's the illusion. We all go through that, every single one of us. That's why people become bitter, old, decrepit people. They become bitter, hard. Their bones start to creak and they start to slump over because their bodies become rigid in their bitterness because they haven't looked within and realized self. And the joyous lightness of being is shining through their eyes. Look at someone like Carol Howe. Her eyes are 21 years old, sparkling with the joyous lightness of being. Carol Howe hasn't aged because she doesn't imagine. Here's a true teacher. Here's wisdom. What's wisdom? Pure presence. Pure presence, the divine. It'll play out in different ways. It'll guide others in many different ways. Pure lightness of being. Don't compare, but observe. Anchor yourself in the absolute. The absolute's like the rock of awareness. Solid. Awareness is solid. It's not lofty. It's a lack of concentration and attention on the illusion. But it's not some fleeting, feathery, whispery candy floss. Awareness is solid like a rock. It's the absolute reality. Nothing flaky about that. Anchor yourself in awareness. Be present. In awareness, you remain constant, complete, fulfilled. No storms of suffering can penetrate awareness because in awareness, there's no thought, and suffering is a thought. And awareness is aware of what? Itself. As what? As awareness. What's another word for awareness? Unconditional love. The pure joy of being, the pure peace of knowing self and source as one indivisible essence energy. Brahman is Atman. Christ is God. The sun, the extension. How do you do this? Well, look back on your life. Look at all the hurts. Look at all the pain. Look at how it started in your formative years with ideas and concepts that you needed to build yourself into something. Look at all the pitfalls. Look at all the hurts. Go back. Timeline it. Write a fucking list and go back. Forgive, 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 forgive. See the formative years. Forgive and realize I chose this. I, the dreaming mind, chose to project myself, a fractured part of myself, as a thought, which took form, through which I could play out this script, and therefore keep myself preoccupied as this localization, this localized body mind, filled with ambition and drive, and then get to a point and fail, and then hate myself and hate the world, and become spiritual and then hate the spirituality because it confused me further. Spirituality never confused you. You were confused from the moment you, the dreaming mind, fell asleep and projected space-time unreality. Now you have the formula. You forgive, and then you rest, and you forgive, and you rest, and you forgive, and you rest. And at some stage, forgiveness turns into gratitude because you'll be grateful how forgiveness brought you into the awareness, how everything was designed for your highest good. Your highest good, your return to remembrance, your remembering of self as the extension of God, as the kingdom in which God abides, as the joyous lightness of being, the extension of God. And so forgiveness becomes gratitude and abidance in gratitude. And while you abide in gratitude, he takes the final step. He, God, the Tao, source energy, takes the final step. What step? It's a step without distance. It's a stepless step. And returns the awareness you are to the awareness it is. Closer than close. You're supposed to not know who you are because there is no who. There's only what, and what is the infinite lightness of being. You're supposed to be disillusioned because it gets you to that there must be another way stage. And when you finally get there and so disillusioned with the illusions of making manifest all your heart's desires, which have just done nothing but fail, then you turn. And now you're ready. While paradise seems to be exciting, adventure, paradisio, cinema paradisio, which they're just going to turn, tear down and build a parking lot from one day. While it seems to be exciting, you're not aware you dream. It has to fail for you to go. There must be another way. Be grateful it has failed. Be grateful that you came here to remember what you are, and you are now remembering. Be grateful. Be that knowingly. Thanks for joining me. Keep sending your questions. See you next week.